Hi, this is Robert Chatham, and this is my story, The Biker, Part 1 of 2. A hog, a sled, a Harley. From the time I turned 13, all I wanted to do was to ride a motorcycle, to live the exciting life of a biker, to race down the streets at night, the smell of burning rubber and gasoline in my clothes, to grow my hair long and unkempt, a Santa Claus-style beard flowing down my chin like so much spilled soup, to ride with the big boys, to wolf whistle at the ladies. Sometimes when I was walking up to the drugstore to get a bottle of Snapple, I thought about how incredible I'd look with the wind flowing through my long hair as it fluttered around my face like the tassels on my handlebars. Actually, I tried growing out my hair a few years back. Unfortunately, it was curly and bristly, and all I could manage was an afro, and my beard would only grow to the level of stubble. Patchy stubble at best. I had several places I couldn't even grow hair on my face. Instead of looking like a biker, my mother told me, I looked like a homeless bum who'd somehow blipped in from the 70s, an impression made worse by the fact that I often took to wearing Hawaiian shirts and capris out in public. But I was damned if I was going to let my dream go. I was 27, and it was time to live my life. I was going to become a biker, and I was going to look incredible. And so I looked at myself as an uncarved mound of stone. To sculpt out a biker, I would have to cut away everything that didn't look like a biker. The first was my hair. I couldn't trust anyone to help me. The last time I asked my friend Chester to give me a haircut, he'd used the electric razor to sculpt the words, "Charles is dumb" in the back of my hair. Only he wasn't really proficient enough to make it legible, and it looked like I had just had a large and wieldy bald spot. No, I would have to manage this on my own. I carefully used a pair of scissors to cut away chunks of my hair as close to the scalp as possible, and then I used an electric razor to finish it off. I was bald, which sort of looked bikery, but I really wanted long flowing hair. I'd previously looked around at the local wig shop and found what looked to me to be a dream wig. It sort of looked like Jane Fonda's hair in Barbarella. It looked badass, totally like a biker. When I slid it on and looked in the mirror, I just smiled. "Oh man," I said out loud, "you are one bad ass." I tasted the dirty word in my mouth, and I liked the flavor. Bad ass, I repeated. Just 4 years ago, my mom would have washed out my mouth soap for saying it, but now I was a biker. I'd also purchased a fake beard and spirit glue, and I was now pasting the beard on. Only the wig was golden yellow, and the beard was a Santa Claus-style beard from Target, and the two didn't look so good together. I shrugged and said to myself, well, bikers aren't known for having exquisite personal appearances. I had a blue jean jacket I picked up from Goodwill, and also had an old pair of blue jeans I'd worn when I was 17. The jeans didn't fit so well anymore, and I couldn't button them, but I also had a really cool extra large t-shirt from Joe's Crab Shack, so I left it untucked, and no one could tell that my pants were not completely closed. I looked up and down a full-length mirror and jumped in the air and squealed. I looked pretty much totally like a badass biker. But what is a biker without a posse? He's nothing, worse than nothing. He's a target for other biker gangs. I needed to join a gang myself, and fast. But there was a big problem. My mom made me promise 3 things when I moved out. 1, I must never eat leftovers that were more than a week old. 2, always wear a clean pair of underwear every day. And 3, never, ever, ever, ever ride on a motorcycle. I hadn't broke any of my promises yet, and as much as I wanted to this time, it would be disrespectful to my mother. So, until she was dead, I had to stick with my 12-speed Huffy. Now, some people think that a Huffy isn't as cool as a motorcycle. They're wrong. Maybe because it isn't as big or isn't as loud, that's what they'll tell you. But 2 months before, I'd taken a big roll of duct tape and taped on a bunch of stuff to the bike and spray painted the whole thing black. A couple of broomsticks, some empty cans, a troll doll, and an AM/FM Walkman with mini speakers. The effect was so amazing, it looked incredible. If you saw me driving down the street and you heard death metal blasting through the mini speakers, you'd totally slow down and say to yourself, man, I've got to stay out of that badass's way. So I got on my bike and started pedaling down the street, blonde hair waving in the wind. My Santa Claus beard was a little askew. I told myself next time I'd use more spirit gum. It was a pleasant June morning, and it wasn't too hot yet, but it was just hot enough to make my blue jean jacket completely unnecessary, which is why it looked so cool. Mr. Fonders down the street squinted at me nervously, but I waved to him and I said, "It's just me, Mr. Fonders," and he said, "Hi, Charles." And what about watering his lawn? It was incredibly empowering. Some old guys have those stupid things in their gardens that look like ladies bent over. You can see their big flowery underpants. Not Mr. Fonders. He grew tomatoes and peppers, and once he brought over 3 pink tomatoes and some peppers and asked if I could use them. I said yes, and when he left, I ate half a pepper and threw up. Then I took the tomatoes back to my high school and threw them at the brick wall and laughed like crazy. So Mr. Fonders and me were cool. "Get a bike and join my cool gang, Mr. Fonders," I yelled at him, and he looked up from watering and waved to me again. I didn't have time to wait, so I just kept pedaling. It was a really nice morning. I turned the corner and kept biking. My Santa Claus beard kept making my face itch, so I scratched it a little and kept on going. I thought about biking up to the drugstore and getting another Snapple, but then I thought, how many bikers have you ever seen drink a Snapple, dumbass? They drink root beer, right from the bottle. They didn't have bottles of root beer at the drugstore, but at the dollar store next door they had some, only they weren't cold. I thought probably bikers have to drink warm sodas too sometimes. They don't have a cooler on their bikes, and that gave me a really good idea. What if I taped a little cooler to the back of my bike so if I wanted a soda later, I could have one? I figured I'd do it when I got home. End of part 1.